Hello. If you're watching this video, then that means you want to learn the Akora TCG. My name is Jackson Nation, and today I'll be helping you get into the wonderful world of Akora. So, first thing I like to preface when teaching Akora is its kind of differences from other TCGs, but also its similarities. So, the most important thing to know, learning new TCGs is very overwhelming, right? I know especially card games like Yu-Gi-Oh! Have a very high entry level because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a bit more competitive in nature. Magic, for sure, also can be very competitive, but with Commander formats, it's a bit more casual. And Magic's Akora is the kind of perfect blend of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic. You have the kind of premise of one main creature, your Akora, that your kind of whole deck revolves around, that you're buffing. And in terms of actually how cards are played, it's a bit more like Yu-Gi-Oh! So it's a very, very interesting blend there. But to start off, let's get acquainted with the zone, the board. So at the very top there, we have our Akora zone. That's where your main creature is going to be. Then we have 4 alchemy zones. All along there, you have your battle zone, your dark zone, your relic zone, and then your 2 deck zones. Now we'll get into that in just a brief moment here. Now, the most important thing in a lot of games is its terminology. So alchemy cards are just kind of what we call any card that in your alchemy deck that isn't in Akora. And you also got to know what you are. You are an alchemist. You are casting these alchemy cards because you're an alchemist. And your Akora is kind of bound to you. So the whole premise of Akora is you're trying to get your opponent's alchemy essence to 0. And alchemy essence is like your life points. Now you do that by powering up your Akora with various alchemy cards, and also using some defensive type alchemy cards in order to protect from your opponent's onslaught. So, let's get into it. So, first step, you'll need your alchemy deck. Now, this is basically your main deck, and we're going to put this right into our zone there for our alchemy deck. So, very straightforward. Now, then there's, your main deck, your alchemy deck is going to be 41 cards. No more, no less. Very key thing to keep in mind. Then there's your Akora deck. Your Akora deck can consist of 9 cards. They have to be different forms of your Akora, but it's good to have 3 of each stage. Your stage 1 Akora, your stage 2, and your stage 3. Now, how do you know the difference between stages of Akora? Well, let me show you. So, stage 1 Akora, so this is Kage, my favorite Akora. Kage has he is a stage 1 as depicted by that there. He has 600 attack points. He has 100 soul points, and he has a relic cost of 1. I will get into all of that in a moment. Zeiss Kage is similar, except he has a relic cost of 3, 250 soul points, 900 base attack, and he's a stage 2. Stage 3 is Magna Kage, and he has what's called a relic attack. Now, he has a relic cost of 6. Now, a very basic thing in Akora is your resources. These are called relic shards. Now, you start every game with 1 relic shard in your relic zone. These are like your energies from Pokemon or your mana from Magic. These are going to give you the power to get to different stages of your Akora, but also to play varying strengths of alchemy cards. So, for your stage 3 Akora, it requires you need to have 6 relic shards in play. You can play 1 relic shard every turn. And if you want to use his most powerful attack, you'll actually send a Relic Shard to your Dark Zone. Now, the Dark Zone, like I said, is right there. The Dark Zone is basically like your graveyard. It's the same for Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! It's your discard pile, in all sense. Now, you start every game with your Stage 1 Akora, so we're basically setting up the board here is what I'm doing. So, starting off, recapping, you'll have your Akora deck face down, and your Alchemy deck. 9 cards and 41 cards for a total of 50, starting with one of your Stage 1 Akora in the Akora zone, and 1 Relic Shard of the attribute of your deck. Now, what cards are in your deck? Well, to start off, there's your Battle Zones. Battle Zones typically, they're depicted by this symbol down here. They will have a different one depending on whatever attribute you're playing. There are many different attributes. There is the Dark attribute, like I have here. There is the Electric attribute, Nature attribute, Warped attribute, Divine attribute, Fire attribute, Water attribute, and Ice attribute. I'm not sure if I'm forgetting any, but I'm pretty sure that's all of them. I'm probably missing a pretty important one. Spirit attribute is another one. All of them kind of have a different play style, and you can kind of pick whichever one fits your bill. So, Battle Zone cards, when they're played, they have their own zone, like I said. So you'll play them right there whenever you have one in your hand. You can only have one at a time, and you can't play one if you already have one there. It would have to be destroyed or something in order for you to get rid of it. So, from there, we're not quite done yet. We also have your armament cards. Now, these are like your equip cards. This one, for example, when the equipped Akora attacks, choose 1 dark attribute only as Akora's attack in your dark zone and add its attack power to your current attack power till the end of the turn. So these will be stay with equipped on your Akora until it is either destroyed or the card itself destroys itself by its own effect. So those are going to stick with your Akora as long as it's out. While we're on the topic there, your Akora has a relic cost, as I was saying right here. So that has a relic cost of 1. So in order to, if your Akora is destroyed, for example, you have to have at least 1 relic shard to get back to your Stage 1. So if you destroy a few of them off of effects and you have no more, you lose the game because you cannot go to your Stage 1 Akora. You will always have an Akora on the board. From there, we have Flash cards. Now, this one is Dark Bidding. Dark Bidding has a relic cost of 3. So as you notice, you won't be able to play this unless you have 3 relic shards out. This is a flash. So as soon as this card's effect resolves, so I'm going to play it. I'm going to play an Akora from my Dark Zone on top of my active Akora. So say through some means I have my Stage 3 Akora sent to my Dark Zone. I can use its effect, play it on top of my active Akora, and this will go to my Dark Zone. Finally, there's our third type of card, and that is Eternities. Let me find one here from the deck. Let's see here. Eternities. All right. So this is a good one. This card here is called the Damned Legion. Now, your Akora gains 100 attack power and loses 25 soul points for each damned card in your Dark Zone. Once per turn, you may discard 2 Dark Attribute only Alchemy cards and draw a card. So the thing about Eternities is they're just that. They're going to stay on the board, and they're going to continuously give you effects similar to Armament cards, but they're not directly linked to your Akora. So whereas Armaments will get destroyed if your Akora is destroyed, these will stick around. The other thing is, unlike Armament cards, you can play multiple of the same Eternity card per turn. your Akora could only be equipped with one Forbidden Alchemy, for example, at a time. That's the other exception. Then there are multi-attribute cards. This is a card called Ancient Calling and is a very good Akora staple. This one's a flash, but the thing about multicolored attribute cards is that they can be used in any deck. You don't need to have a certain attribute. Any deck can make use of a multicolored attribute card. So those are just a few of the card types. And you should be getting familiar with how the game plays. Now, we're gonna do a little practice run here. So I'm going to get everything as it should. So I'm gonna shuffle our deck. So remember what we've learned today. The different types of cards. Attribute determines your play style. We've kind of looked at different things on the cards in Akora. And we've also know what our resource is in our relic shards. So let's try out a turn, shall we? So we're gonna go over to our alchemy deck and we're gonna draw genuine hand here. Genuine 5 cards to start off our match. I don't know how many that is. That is 4. That is 4. Get a 5th. All right. This is very scuffed. Bear with me here. Bear with me. Okay. So this is our starting hand. We have a Dark Bidding, a Forbidden Alchemy, a Valley of the Damned, a Dark Relic Shard, and Damned Voyage. So, what can we do with this hand? So let's assume we're going first. All right. Let's assume we're going first. We're gonna start off. We can't play this because we don't have an Akora in the Dark Zone to grab for its cost. We can equip this, but I have a Relic Shard in hand. So I'm going to play that over here, get us to 2 Relic Shards. Now remember, once we get 3 of those, we can do what's called Relicking Up. So in order to get from different stages for Akora, you have to meet its Relic cost and then announce that you're Relicking Up, and then you'll be able to lay the next stage on top of your current Akora, and that is a Relic Up. Now, it is possible to Relic Up on the first turn. There are cards that allow you to play more than 1 shard in a turn. And if you are in a position to Relic Up on the first turn, with recent versions of the rules, you can. All right. Next up, what else we got? So we're trying to gain attack points, get our opponent to 0. So what are we going to do? Well, we have Forbidden Alchemy. When the equipped Akora attacks, we get to choose an Akora in our Dark Zone to add its power. So if we have a way to send an Akora to the Dark Zone later on, that'll be really good. And if this card enters the Dark Zone for whatever reason, we get to add a Demon Gate. So that's very good. That's one of our other battle zones. Decks can contain 4 battle zones cards total. Play sets in this game are 3, so you can play 3 of the same card in a deck. But yeah, only four battle zones. So you can play 3 of the same battle zone and then one of, or 2 of the same battle zone and another 2 of a different battle zone. So we got that equipped. What next? What are we gonna do next? Well, I think we can probably activate one of our other cards in our hand. We have Damned Voyage, taking some damage to our 6,000 Alchemy Essence to send 2 Damned cards from the Alchemy deck to the Dark Zone. And Valley of the Damned, this one allows us to gain attack power for all of the Damned cards in the Dark Zone. So let's do that. So we're going to activate our Damned Voyage. It's a flash, remember? So we'll take 1,000 or 100. So we're at 5,900. And then we can send 2 cards. So let's look at our deck. We have Valley of the Damned, Damned Voyage. What else do we have? We could send the Damned. That's a pretty good card. Why don't we send that? And we'll send, say, I don't know. Let's send the Damned Legion. So by doing this, we are basically getting some power for our Akora. The damned archetype, its whole premise is that by you gain attack power for however many damned cards are in your dark zone. So, now the damned voyage effect is over, it'll go to the dark zone as well. So look, now we have 3 damned cards in the dark zone. So now we can activate Valley of the Damned. Valley of the Damned is going to say, for each damned card in the dark zone, the Akora gains 100 attack power, but loses 20 soul points. So our Kage is going to go from 600 attack points to 900. And on top of that, it's going to lose 20 soul points. So he'll be at, let's see, he'll go from 100 to 40. So he's losing some defense, but he's gaining some massive attack power. And once per turn, redirect an attack to this card. And if this card is destroyed, inflict some damage to your Alchemy Essence for each damned card in your Dark Zone, including this card. You can only have one Valley of the Damned active at a time. So this is another one of the exceptions to Eternities, where this one specifically only allows you to have one at a time. But yeah, so this has also given us protection, so we can redirect an attack to this card. And since this card isn't in Akora, we don't take damage. But we're also getting even more fuel. So if we have another Valley of the Damned that we draw into, we are playing a playset, we'll get even more power. So that's just kind of an example of a turn. And say our opponent does something, they'll attack into us. We can't attack on the first turn, like most card games. We are unable to. Let's go to our next turn. We'll draw a card, and we get Vylum Downs. Vylum Downs is a battle zone, so we can play it in our battle zone. Your Akora gains 100 attack power for each Dark Relic Shard we have in play. So we gain another 200 attack power for each of our Relic Shards. And so total, after that, we're attacking for roughly, let's see, he'll gain 300 off of this, 200 off of our Relic Shards, so he'll be attacking for 1,100, and that will be dealt to the difference to our Akora's soul points and our attack power, and that's how damage is dealt. So that was the beginning of our turn. Hopefully now you should have a pretty decent understanding of how to play the Akora TCG. Hope you guys, all you new alchemists, learned a little something today. I know it's a little complicated to get into it, but it's fairly simple. If you want to see this deck list, actually, and see any other deck lists for various other archetypes, I have videos for those as well, going through them in depth, card for card, showing all the ratios and explaining why we play certain cards in the game. But I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll continue pumping out some Akora content. See you guys later.